Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail. In the last episode we managed to smash our way through a blockade which was around the town of Savannah, and now we're going to come to the assistance. The town has been under siege for a few weeks and we're here to save the day. A distress call from General Augustine Prevost, commander of our base in Savannah, has found you while patrolling the coast of Georgia. Rebel army and militia forces are on their way to attack. Prevost's main forces joined an invading British army currently involved in engagements near the border of South and North Carolina. He's begging you to sail to Savannah to assist with the defense of the city, and we are now here. Ready to go, we're using as many troops as we can. Thank God you've arrived on time, Captain. Our scouts reported rebel movements to the southeast. Their attack is imminent. We've mobilised all loyal militia we could, but there are only a few small regular regiments. We have some small pieces of artillery, a good supply of stock, and some draft wooden fences. General Prevost has given you command over the outer defences. Right, so we need to get everybody off the boat. Time slowed down so we can get ready for battle. Just because we want to order as many troops into the boats in as short amount of time as possible. Get everyone ashore about the same time. We don't want to be at any disadvantage because we don't know how tough the Continental Army is going to be. The last time we faced them, they ran us off the mainland. Our heels clicking as we retreated to the boats. We lost a few men that day, so I'm not keen to reenact that at all. Triunfante has dropped off her infantry units. Monarcha the same. We have a supply wagon as well. And Whitby has infantry and some artillery. Alright, meanwhile in the town we have a few units of regulars, as the briefing stated. Nice amount of supplies there. A supply cache as well as a supply wagon. So we'll get these men onto the breachworks. I think. Is that how it works? I haven't actually used emplacements yet. Yep, click on the grey box to get the men on there. Double quick so we're ready. It looks like the artillery's taken that one up. Oh, we have skirmishers already approaching from the northeast. It's really the southeast, but your mind always thinks up is north. Okay, everybody is coming in ashore. We still have slow time because we really want to see how this unfolds. And we do want to make some divisions up. We don't want all these units scattered out. First men are making it up to the breachworks for defensive line. I can hear men rustling through the brush there. And it's definitely not our men. We have a supply cache there that is unguarded for now. This Royal Garrison has taken the fight to the skirmishers, trying to push them right back, just to keep them well away from our artillery piece. We'll form up these divisions, make them easier to manage. One last boat still needs to come ashore. The divisions are forming up nicely now. 250 men is the maximum. There is Jarvis there. He is currently a lieutenant, but the protagonist of our campaign. Divisions are forming up nicely. Get Jarvis into a division with Butler, or Bueller I should say. Pyman. And we are almost at max capacity for Jarvis's division. Start moving the men up towards the town. Then we've got this second clump of infantry here. We'll move them up too, and we'll do the divisions a bit later. We need to get the defensive line set. All of our infantry can move up. Quite a steep grade of hill there. Merrily marching to war. Get the mortars on the outskirts of town, hidden in the trees. While cannons seem to be more effective, I like the concept of indirect fire for support, and it really worked when we took the town of Savannah. So I'm sure it'll work in defense as well. Skirmishers have made it into the town and taken one of our supply caches. We do have enough men to push them back out again. Get some of our experienced troops up onto the breachworks. Skirmishers coming in from behind here, being very skirmishy. Get one of our divisions up on the breachworks to the east, supported by a few others. We'll increase the maximum size of these. Can't do it, can't do it. What about these two? Merge them up. We're going to have a nice strong force on the west. There seems to be more defensive placements there, so I'm going to fill those out. The large hill will make our ships ineffective in this battle. American regulars are onto the breachworks. We'll get an artillery piece onto one of them. Oh, there's a large contingent pushing in from the southeast. A little bit slow to action. Not too concerned though. We've got to hold the town for 2 hours. And we have now lost the east point as well. Jeez, we might not. We're being overrun. Our regulars don't have the same morale that our actual infantry have. I was relying on them not to crumble. That may have been a silly thing to expect from a garrison force. Of just your standard farmers. So we'll get the real redcoats in. We have lost an officer cadet, Ishmael Davies. Rest in peace. We'll fill out these defensive works and then we'll cleanse the town. Our marine division should be able to handle this push. We are losing a lot of men on that artillery piece. But the bulk of our soldiers are now ashore. Move up our supply wagon into the town. Yeah, we can't even give any fire support from our ships, unfortunately. That would have made this a real cakewalk. We've got some coming in from the south now. A unit of militias. First Battalion. And that's all of our men ashore. Get the mortars up. We need more assistance to the north. We'll set up a little fire base there on the west side of town. Our divisions are trying to prop up the morale of the Royal Garrison. Holding the town square as well so they can't sneak through. We'll push a few more divisions in and recapture this zone here. Alright, we've got our first contact coming in from the west. Send out a unit of grenadiers to meet this threat. Our fire base has started. We've got 2 artillery pieces and a mortar on its way. So we've got a pretty strong southern defense. We just need to make sure that the north doesn't crumble. That initial assault seems to be wavering. Need to capitalize on that and get back up to the defensive line. It's a shame we lost that artillery piece. We'll put the Royal Garrison onto there. And they can now take artillery duty. I'm going to try and get that supply cache back at some point too. Grenadiers are pushing that unit of militia out of the square. Now we're going to form up on the defensive. We've got 2 units here, but our grenadier unit is almost as large as them. So I'm pretty confident we can hold them off. Set them to line fire. So they have 2 ranks firing. And we've got some nice crossfire there coming from our firebase. It looks like our defensive position is taking artillery fire from the ridgeline off to the south there. These regiments of rifle are now pushing back after their initial waver. We need to send some reinforcements up to plug that gap. Second Royal Garrison has collapsed, second company. We cannot rely on those troops by the look of it. The mortars are in position. Perhaps we should bring some more infantry around. We'll push this last division up through town. It's a max strength division, 300 men strong. Grenadiers seem to be doing okay. They're certainly in a better defensive position than their assailants. Alright, we'll push up these infantry out to plug this gap and get on that defensive wall. There is artillery that I need to remember. Firing on this unit of militia regulars, second company. Pushing past, we now have the supply cache back under our control. Very strong position out here. Firebase and also lots of supplies. I will keep that infantry there for now, just in case there is a push from that direction. So far, nothing to be worried about. We have just over an hour of game time left. That doesn't translate to real time though. We need to get some infantry support for this artillery unit. Bring them up. Anyone that's not engaged, bring them around. Bring the supply wagon into the center of town to keep it safe, so we can bring out ammunition to the artillery when it's required. Our firebase has a supply cache there, so we don't need to worry about keeping that supplied. Can be a little bit fiddly to try and get a correct line set up. But we really need to get something up onto that ridge line to deal with that artillery that's got free rein on us. We've got a few free units, so we should push out and get the stragglers away from our defensive position. They can act as a sort of scout force as well. The southern side of town is looking pretty good. The southeast side of town is under constant assault, but our divisions are holding pretty firm. With the exception of the Royal Garrison being captured now. 6th Company have been captured. They've surrendered to the enemy. That's not very nice. We have some more reinforcements moving up in the way of Royal Marines. This battle line is looking pretty secure. We can definitely afford to move these divisions up to the east side of town. West side is still looking secure. We can't fully break these Marines. They keep regathering, rallying up. We don't want that small division there to be in the thick of the fight. We've taken a few casualties, turning our backs to them, but that's a lot of men pushing through that entrance now. We're not letting them get through decisively, but we're not putting up too much of a defense from that direction. I want to keep the west side secure just in case, because there is a lot of defensive line there, and I feel like that needs to be used. The way these games are scripted, they normally put pressure on you from one side and then try and blindside you from another. I'm confident we can push these guys back. They are just regulars. We've spotted more Marines coming up the road apparently. There they come. Those prisoners of war have been taken well away from the battlefield. They've been lost to the Americans. Another line is approaching from the south, probing our line, Trying to scout for that artillery piece that's up on the ridgeline still. I can't contest that. I don't have any fast units. Seem to be pushing them back. We'll push forward a little bit to try and counter this advance. Alright, we have a second artillery piece off to the east on the road somewhere. Bring that supply wagon up. Things still looking secure on the western front. The second supply wagon is going to make a run along this defensive line, and then we'll put it over where the fight is actually happening, because I foresee us running out of ammunition very shortly. Our assailants have formed up a jagged line. We're there to meet them. We have a few full-strength divisions behind the house. We can try and flank around and sweep our way up their line. Supply wagon slowly making its way towards the artillery piece, which has now just run out of ammunition, which I foresaw. The division is routing. We are a little bit pressed on this side. I might have to turn away some of our southern defenders to face this eastern threat. They have a clear sight of artillery on us, which is giving them a major advantage. One of the eastern attackers has fled, so we're now going to push up a little bit with those units. They are reforming now. Supply wagon is almost in range of our artillery piece. That'll be its dedicated supply. If the wagon runs out, we can run it back to the center of town to restock. Our fire base is still looking secure. I am wondering whether I should start to move up some artillery to the other side of town, because this is a constant attack from this edge. We have 45 minutes of in-game time left. One of our divisions has broken. That's leaving the flank of these guys very exposed. Drop the wagon there and go and enter the fight, or do you have to help them resupply? Alright, someone else has surrendered. We've lost another of our garrison units to a surrender. Maybe my plan wasn't right. Maybe I should have concentrated to the southeast. There's a lot of manpower that I'm wasting over here. I'll push another division over to the east. Try and get back onto these breachworks. Our experience is shining through. Our experienced troops are doing well. Some of these garrison units are a bit of a liability, relying on them to hold a line. It's probably not the right doctrine to use. But also our attackers have very, very poor morale. They take a few volleys and then they run off back down the road. A lot of friendly fire happening over there. Division has faced the east now and is now firing into our own unit, making them rout. Oh dear. I really think I need to move some men. They're pushing into the center of town, which I believe is the same way that we pushed, is it? Or is this map different to when we attacked Savannah? Different perspective. We have another division of 320 strong pushing up now, ready to enter the fray, add some reinforcements and morale to the situation. These guys have had to turn their backs to one front to help out on this flank. We still have the artillery piece watching their rear. Our grenadiers have pushed forward and managed to capture an enemy supply wagon. That's a fortuitous turn of events. We get that away. We can get some extra loot at the end of the battle. The enemy artillery piece is now visible, but our grenadiers are taking fire. Defensive division has managed to push out past the breachworks and push back some of the enemy. They are now exhausted though. Grenadiers have run out of ammo on the front line. We need to get them back to the supply wagon double quick. Supply wagon, maybe we should run out to meet them. Oops. Sometimes when you hold the command button, it drags a line. Bit of disorganization over here, over our captured prize. We need to get that back into town. We lost some manpower capturing the supply wagon. Reforming in the center of the city. We're going to move our supply wagon along the line here just to help out the infantry as well, who are no doubt running out of powder and shot. Grenadiers making a desperate dash up. They're losing a lot of morale though. Return fire and recharge. It's a risky move, but it at least lets the Grenadiers who took the supply wagon move back to town. Things are looking steady on the southern front. More rebels are coming in. Which direction are they coming from this time? Marines are routing on the front. That's a good sign. Our Grenadiers are still engaged with this artillery piece, putting pressure on them, making it hard for them to reload these large cannon. Lots of enemy troops appearing within our vision range now. We'll push some divisions from the center of town to reinforce that line. Those guys on the breachwork have done a really good job. They are now running low on ammunition. These guys don't really know what they want to do. They keep running and coming back to battle. They want to win. I'm going to charge our Grenadiers in and finish off this artillery piece and capture it for ourselves. Got a little bit of an overlapping fire going on there, which is good for us. Our firebase has ended up being quite useless. With 20 minutes in game remaining, we will win without their help. That's what happens when you play blind. You can come up with a strategy and it may not be relevant to how the mission plays out. No doubt if things had got really hairy, we could have moved them over and got them to assist. Okay. Grenadiers took the cannon down. The threat there is minimized. The push seems to be really coming from the south. And we have more than enough supply. We have enough men on the lines. A few of our weakened divisions can move it back to center of town to get resupplied. Come on, move up these supply wagons a bit closer. They have no supply. Get them on their knees. 2 lines firing. 300 men versus 260. Doing rather well. This seems to be the final push. This division just refuses to get back into the reload. Try and encircle these guys so they surrender or shatter. Push our strong divisions up, trying to keep a homogeneous line. Ammunition situation looks to be stable. There are a lot of units on this side, so we've taken off the infantry from this western side, which saw no action at all, and we're going to push them up and use them as a sweeping force. The numbers on this side are looking grim for the American. The Redcoats are holding strong. We have taken a fair few losses, especially from our ship Marine Division, because they're the guys that held the eastern side of town. So unfortunately, we're going to lose some experience from our ships as a result. Our mortars in the center of town now, so they can put some assistance on this large mob of American regulars. Sweeping force of Grenadiers has come in. They've instantly shattered the 1st Company of the 4th South Carolina Regiment. Still no ammunition coming to this division on the breachworks. That wagon must not be close enough. Mopping up operation on the eastern side. And that large push still hasn't managed to break through our lines. We're holding strong. Having that indirect fire support is helping to really shatter the morale. I'll push a bit harder with these grenadiers. There's that artillery piece that's been hassling us, so we'll move him up and we'll move a few more infantry units up to plug that gap that's going to form. Turn the speed up because I'm confident that we're going to win this. They're nowhere near being able to breach through town. And we have finished our fight. Defense of Savannah is complete. We'll shoot them a bit more and then we'll move on. So we deployed 6,300 men. Of those we lost 900 and 120 were captured as prisoners of war. We almost completely wiped out the Americans. They only had 500 men left after a 3,500 strong assault. Very good result for the battle, and it's time to move on with the War of Independence. So it seems our defensive lines were able to hold and we were able to evacuate the city. But unfortunately the Admiral Gayton has fallen ill with disease of the heart and he's not going to recover. The remains of our squadron is now off to Jamaica. Interesting. That's it for another episode. Make sure to tune in next time. Make sure you like, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Commander Tyrael out.